The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Terramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now, Sammy Terramina, vlogger of the Dragon's Den, vlogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts between Terramina and Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends watching on Orion Neighborhood Television and also on SoundCloud.
Uh-huh.
We got Ian here. Of course, oddly enough, we're getting real close to the year. I mean, like, football's near.
Everything's near.
Everything's near.
You're looking outside. It's still summertime. It's the, what? This is the 30th we're recording this show,
Last day of July. I mean, like, second to last day of July.
Second of July. It's still nice outside. We're like, yeah, just kind of settling into summer.
Mm-hmm.
And bang, football.
And it kind of has that thing in the air. Of course, media days coming up this week.
Yes, exciting.
And then you look at the storylines heading into the year. Of course, you got a couple of them. I got a couple of them. Teams that we're both looking at heading into the season. I mean, like, and we also got basketball regionals that were released. I want to get your thoughts into that.
Yeah, let's see where anything changed. Anything
it's
crazy,
going more
wacky.
It's going more east-west, and I want to get your insight on that.
I'll do my best
with the how that's unfolded, and of course other sports. If you want to talk about, of course, you look at them. You look at possibly cross-country volleyball insights. So. Very interesting show to talk to you about this week.
This is kind of, like you said, is something in the air. You get kind of excited.
You kind of get excited in the air.
I wasn't even really thinking about football until we started working on schedules yesterday here at ONTV. What games are we going to cover? Are we going to go on the road to Monroe? We're going to try to go on the road to Rochester Adams. And then you go, oh, this is real. It's right around the corner.
It is.
And then cross country, bam.
And it's volleyball too.
And volleyball.
And it's right around the corner. And
I think soccer.
And it's very interesting as well. So I want to talk to you, Ian, about your storylines heading into the year. A lot of big storylines, of course, that a lot of people are talking about. One of the teams that we're talking about is Oak Park. I mean, the Knights could debatably be one of the best teams in the best team in the OAA, but I mean, they do return a quarterback in Dwan Mathis, an Ohio State commit. They got a very talented running attack. They got a very good receiving core. Their defense is stacked and loaded. But when I look at the storyline for Oak Park, is you have to look at, can this team get by the hump? Of course, they're when they win the playoffs. I mean, like, ever since Coach Carter got there, he's taken that team to playoffs 6 of the last 7 years. Yeah. And you look at Oak Park. I mean, they have never gotten past the regional round, and that is an interesting storyline because 2012 they lost to Wyandotte Roosevelt.
Wow.
And then last year they lost to Warren de La Salle.
Okay.
So what's your thoughts about that?
That's a surprising stat that they've never gotten past what you just said there. I mean, that is kind of surprising.
They have a head coach in Greg Carter. He's been there. He's won state championships at Detroit DePores. He's won he's won numerous championships, but that has to be hinging in the mind of Carter, you know what I mean, the regional championship round.
Well, I mean, it goes back to like some other teams we've seen through the years that you have that have, like West Bloomfield. Look at them as an example. How long did it take them to push? I mean, it was up to last year, right, to finally get some momentum rolling into the postseason, that they actually had a chance to get to the state finals, right? They fell, right, eventually, were runner-up, but they got there. And every year you're like, oh, these are the dudes. These are the guys. Or they have a chance. And then, boom, they flame out. You go, there's so many variables that go into what would make a championship run, besides, like, say, Clarkston, who's stacked, or or anybody else.
Last year was not stacked at all.
But the previous ones were, when they roll down there and take the championship. But it was, when you have obvious favorites. But with Oak Park, what's the missing link? Is it sustained success that they have to do? I mean, it seems like they have. They made the playoffs, like you said, 7 of 8.
This may be the best team this may be the best team they've had. When you look at, of course, now Dwan Mathis now is officially the guy with now Corey Graham now transferred to Harper Woods. I mean, like, so. But when you look at,
and it never hurts to have a fabulous quarterback.
The problem that I have with Oak Park is their linebacking core.
Okay.
And when you look at the Knights, not really a proven linebacker with that team in the past. And when you look at Oak Park, this is a team that, relies a lot on their speed, their physical prowess, the strength. That team's going to be their lines this year.
Yeah.
They got a couple D1 offer guys on the line. I think Oak Park, obviously, they're going to be a very good team. There's no doubt about that. But let's talk.
Can they
sustain it? That's the question. Can they, especially when they get in the regionals? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you notice a trend here. They have not gotten. They've been on the road for the regional the last 2 times.
So they've
never hosted
no
a home
host.
playoff.
Hey.
And for me, for Oak Park to have probably host a regional game, they would have to go 9-0.
Yeah.
Because you have teams like Warren DSL in there, UD Jesuit, right in your backyard.
Yeah.
And I think that is pretty much, and I think that's an issue. You know what I mean? Is for Oak Park.
Hosting a postseason game, and we saw it here in Lake Orion for years, in the, starting with like the 07 or 08 through the championship years when they're hosting those playoff games.
Well,
it's
huge.
Hosted
back in 05 district championship
Yep.
game.
And that is a huge bonus.
Mm-hmm.
But the real good teams, it doesn't matter where you play. You go anywhere and you play anybody, and those are the ones that you remember. Those are the ones that Oak Park is striving to be one of those teams. It's like it doesn't matter. I'm sure the coach would say, "Hey, we're not hosting a regional game. That's okay."
Mm-hmm.
We'll go anywhere wherever the schedule takes us. We're going to go and play anybody.
Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at that matter, Oak Park's played a very vicious schedule the last last 4 or 5 years, and they do play Utica Eisenhower this year at Wayne State,
tough.
So that's going to be a tough match for them. Talk about another team here that I think's got expectations. West Bloomfield. We talked about them earlier. We talked about them earlier. They got 2 D1 players, and Trey Mosley and Lance Dixon, of course. Mosley going to Michigan State, Dixon going to Penn State. Let's look at what Ron Bellamy's team has.
What are they losing?
They lost a ton. They lost Bryce Beasley, their quarterback.
Yep.
And
Huge.
that's not going to be an easy thing to replace there.
No.
I mean, they lost some key pieces. They lost Taj Mustafa, who's not Wisconsin now. AJ Abbott, who's now at Wisconsin now. I mean,
geez, a Wisconsin pipeline.
But when you look at West Bloomfield, this is a team that they didn't get a lot of transfers, so they're developing their program within.
Yes.
I mean, so when you look at the Lakers heading into the year, what are your thoughts about West Bloomfield?
Well, they have a solid foundation. I mean, the coach obviously knows knows what he's doing. He's got something going over there. Something's rolling over there. The anticipation, for like we just mentioned earlier, over the years, you're like, oh, this is the year. Oh, no, it wasn't. Oh, this is the year. Oh, geez, then finally it was the year.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take the hardware home, but it was
But they got past.
But they got there.
They
beat
past
some big
Detroit
teams.
Cass Tech. That was the big one. And I dare say this. I think West Bloomfield's better than Detroit Cass Tech this year.
Really?
I dare say it. Because when you look at the Lakers, beside the quarterback situation,
yes,
they've got players.
Okay.
You look at Donovan Edwards at running back. You look at they have the corners. They have the skilled players. They have the athletes that could do some significant damage.
Well, where did they falter a year ago?
They lost.
Was it in the defensive side of the ball?
Well, they couldn't score in the They couldn't score in the later rounds after the game against Utica Eisenhower. They just couldn't score.
Yeah.
Against Detroit Cass Tech and Clarkson, they just could not score.
Yeah. So, is that an improvement coming into this season? The offense, is that another concern?
I think it's a concern when you look at West Bloomfield, is because they had a lot of athletes, a ton of athletes, and their defense was rock solid.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. Their defense was rock solid. But what really hurt them last year, and I think in the state championship game, what hurt them, I think, was Bellamy's play calling.
Okay.
And
too predictable.
Decision making, actually. is decision making.
Okay.
Of course, we mentioned with they had a chance to go for a field goal. I mean, in the middle part of that, I believe in the third quarter, I believe that game. And then you look at also, you could have just, I mean, like, if you kick the field goal, you're up 5-3 against Clarkson. You're up 5-3.
That was an odd game.
That was a very odd game.
It's flooding back to me now. You're watching the game going, this can't be the final score. I mean, it was just odd. Just so strange.
It was.
But it could have been nerves on both sides. I don't know. I mean, not being able to score the offense and the Lakers, I mean, for the rest of the regular season, they're putting points up.
They're putting points up on everybody.
Yeah, and it was just maybe the moment was too big for them. Maybe they weren't ready.
Was.
You don't think so?
I think it was, they
adjustment by Clarkson. I
think it was both
familiarity
by Clarkson. I also think, Bellamy's decision making in that game was a little sketchy, of course, considering that they should have kicked the field goal instead of go for it on fourth down.
Okay. But who thought that would have been the score? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can cut the lead, but ultimately the final score was, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
3-2.
Yes. I mean, it's crazy. Crazy, is it?
But
it's a playoff game in the baseball, Major League Baseball playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
But with, looking at now, do they roll again early?
The schedule's tough for West Bloomfield. They open up with Groves. That's a tough match for them. I think Groves is a team that nobody's talking much about.
You've been pretty high on them.
I'm high on Groves because of who they got back. I mean, they got a very good player in Khalil Dossi coming back for Coach Brendan Flaherty. But they've got, the question that I have is, Groves only scored 262 points last year. And I think personally, they need to score more.
Okay.
They need to score more if they're going to be successful. Now, I think Grove's a playoff team, that's for sure. That's not even a question. But I think for Groves to make the next step, they have to score more.
Okay.
And back to West Bloomfield. Yes, offense concerns me heading in the year because if this team, and that comes down to their mental mindset. How was their mental mindset? Were they cocky? Were they or were they in the moment? Because anytime you beat Detroit Cass Tech, that's huge.
Oh yeah, and your confidence level goes through the roof.
And then of course, the Clarkson game.
Yeah.
Was it cockiness? Was it Clarkson making adjustments? That's what we never know.
There you go. I think every coach wants their team to be a little cocky.
Mm-hmm.
A little, like what do you call it? Swagger, another word for that, right? Confidence. If you don't have confidence or any type of, belief in yourself, why play the game?
Mm-hmm.
And they had it in spades last year.
Right.
And I think it was a combination of adjustments by Clarkston. That defense played crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe it was a combination. It could be the decision making by Bellamy, but I think mainly it was the execution of Clarkston's defense. They just shut him down. I go, it wasn't like, hey, we were going to go to the wishbone in the middle of this.
Had a chance, but West Bloomfield had a chance. Bellamy decides let's go for it on fourth down instead of kick a field goal.
But yeah, you go. But he's faith in his kids. It's like, man up, here we go. I mean, it didn't work out, but if it worked out, be calling him a genius. You're saying, hey, that guy had faith in his kids, and it just didn't have the inches. It just didn't happen.
No. Let's talk about another team that you were interested in.
Yeah.
A couple other teams.
Which one? I got two.
You got two of them.
Well,
let's talk about Adams.
Yeah, I'm looking into Adams. Just off the air, I was mentioning to Sam, it's like, working on this show or, doing the podcast with you, it's opened my eyes to a lot of different things. Yes, I'm a track guy. I'm a cross-country guy because that's what my kid does. And you get enveloped in that world. But thanks to Sam and working with him on the show, you get to see other things. You open your eyes to different teams and the coaches and the different, all these different things has really opened my eyes, and I'm learning a lot. I don't claim to be an expert on any of this stuff as Sam is. But watching, I'm a fan of Adams. I like Adams. are an interesting team. Watching what they did when they came into town against Lake Orion, you're like, "Ooh, this is kind of an interesting."
Well, remember, Adams runs a veer option.
I know, but it's like an interesting thing. Like I don't know the X's and O's of football like you do, and I just remember watching and going, "This is kind of interesting." And you go, "Oh boy, they're a pretty good looking team." And what happened? After one of the initial games, they started doing pretty good, and it's just one team that I'm interested in and watching, and we're gonna.
Adams does lose a lot, from last year. They lost Steven Roncelli.
Okay.
Zach Solon, their quarterback, but we saw Carter Ferris, what he can do.
Yeah.
Of course, ask Lake Orion that question.
Yes. And that's kind of what raised my attention.
The question for Adams, in my opinion, this year is going to be the running. Who's going to be the running back for them? Especially because in a veer, you're going to need to basically have good quarterbacks, good fullback, good running back. Got to learn tackle dives, stay home, and all that.
Yeah.
So when you look at Adams, this is a team that I think, if this was a team, I still think this is a playoff team, but they're going to have to dress for skill players. Now, they lost a very good player in Vincent Gray, who's now at Michigan now. So I'm curious to see who their wide receiver spot's going to be. I'm curious to see who the running back spots are going to be. But they have the quarterback. They have the line.
Yeah.
So
let's just say I'm not running around with the jersey on, but it's one of those teams like you go, how are they doing? Clarkson's been around, yawn, so I'm a little out on that, but it's like, hey, let's give the guys in Rochester just a shot. You know what I mean?
Adams,
yeah.
And then another team we got to talk about is Troy Athens.
Yeah.
Last year, 0-9. They're down in the white now. Billy Keene is their new head coach. He was their former offensive coordinator at Troy Athens. A lot of people talking.
0-9's tough.
A lot of people talking about that this football team could have a significant bounce back year. I mean, when you look at the Red Hawks now that they're in a lower division, they have the coach there, creating a culture there. So let's look at Athens a little bit. I mean, this is a football team that 14-42 since 2011. And you look at this Red Hawk team that needs wins badly. And
what are their numbers?
They didn't
are
feel
they shrinking?
They didn't feel the JV team last year. They really didn't. But
what's in the water down there? Nobody's into football anymore?
I don't know. But especially for a big school that Troy Athens is.
Yeah.
And let's look at others. Let's look at what the problem with Troy Athens has been is their defense has not been good. Now, they were playing against right competition.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the white, you're playing against some of the you're playing against Oak Park, Rose, and Harrison, But then now you look at your non-conference and say for Troy Athens, you want to get in the playoffs, you have to you got to beat Lake Orion. You have to beat your city rivals. You got to beat Troy. You got to beat Rochester. You got to beat Stony Creek. You got to beat those.
It doesn't look like sliding down's going to do them any favors.
It might not. It might not, because it's very interesting to see what happens there.
Well, they're not taking out Oak Park, I don't think, right? I mean, you're saying...
Oh, they're not going to be... I don't think they're beating Oak Park. I think they got a chance against Harrison.
You think so?
I think they got a chance. Harrison's numbers are down.
Yeah.
Harrison's numbers are down.
Rolling into their final season. Yeah.
I mean, but Athens is the team to watch.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to see, because I always like the turnarounds. You never know what's going to happen. It's tough to go 0 for 2 years in a row, And if they move down, hopefully it'll give them a boost, And I'll keep an eye on that one.
Keep an eye on that one. Another team I'm keeping an eye on is North Farmington.
Okay.
Bob Chiaza's team 2 years ago went 0 for 9.
Oh boy.
Then he took over the team, went 2-7 a year ago.
Okay.
Now I had a nice little chat with him.
Didn't you say
I did have
playoffs?
A nice chat with them. I said, you couldn't be a playoff team here. They got a lot back. I just saw their new uniforms the other day, and they are better than last year's. I liked them a lot. But on the football talent, they have got to get tougher up front.
Okay.
I think North Farmington has to be a team. If they can get tougher up front, if they can get their skill players to have their skill players to develop, and they'll basically it'll get Chiazza's team right back in the thick of it.
Okay.
They've got to address their defense. They got to address their offense. Their offense only scored 58 points last year.
Whoa.
Which is bad. But
if their defense was holding them, I mean.
Their defense was atrocious last year. I mean, so.
Yeah, 50 points. My word.
For North Farmington, their line's got to get tougher. They have got to get stronger. And then the other team I'm keeping an eye on is Ferndale. Now, not a lot of people talk about Ferndale.
No, you mentioned that in the pre-show.
Yeah, they're 15-5 their last 2 years. And
15-5.
15-5.
Okay.
2 playoff appearances. They have performed magnificently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, however, when they get in the playoffs, it is not good for
Odd
them.
things happen.
Because they go up to Division II because they take the merger with Ferndale University, since Ferndale is a co-op program. And you know who they played the last 2 years in the playoffs?
Huh.
Detroit Martin Luther King.
Oh, boy.
And last year, Warren De La Salle.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing. You feel really bad for Ferndale. You feel bad for them, especially when you get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
How in the heck?
Yeah, and there's only one other scenario I saw that's kind of similar like that. It was like the Avondale, was it, in track?
Right.
Like you go to the regionals and it's like, who? Avondale's here, and you know it was a similar situation where you're competing. Oh, regionals, you're thrown up to the big dogs because you know you're combining with some other group.
Right.
And wow, that's not a favor for anybody.
No. And when I look at Ferndale, you know, they got to replace quarterback. That's not going to be an easy thing
tough,
for them.
Man. It's in high school ball. It's always tough.
But they have a running back coming in there. They did get a transfer in there from Detroit Central and Rodney Johnson.
Okay.
Who I think is going to help them in a lot of certain areas.
All right.
And you look at that team, they're low on numbers. But when you look at them, I mean, their line's going to be their strength. This could be a Ferndale team that gets back in the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Now, I got Avondale in there who's going to be very good, very athletic.
Yes.
You know, I like Eketeria's team. I mean, they score a ton of points.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a nice bounce back last year. But Ferndale and Avondale should be the 2 top teams in the Blue Division heading into this year. Now, you got another team.
Yeah, Oxford. There's something about Oxford every year that I always, never paid attention to them. Like, again, until we started chatting, we started covering games when I came here to ONTV. You root for the home team here, which is Lake Orion, right? But I really like Oxford. It's one of those old throwbacks. They don't change anything, and it's like a snapshot in time, and it's fun to watch. I like it. It's the kind of old school football that I really enjoy. It's what I understand, and but it's always curious to see how Oxford goes up against all these other types of modern offenses, or the new. There's a lot of coaching talent, as we know, in the OAA, and having Coach Raleigh around for so long and sticking to his guns and say, this is what we do, this is what we run, and everybody knows it, and that will be damned. And it's fun to see how they pan out every year. It kind of goes up, it kind of goes down. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it works out fabulously well for them.
You want to know Oxford's defense the last 8 years? Seriously.
Do I want to know?
Do you?
Well, obviously, you're going to hit me over the head with it.
It has been atrocious. And I talked to Riley about it last year.
I know you did.
About addressing their defense. I mean, this is a young football team. The strength of that team's their sophomore class.
Okay.
They've got to replace a quarterback. That's going to be very interesting.
Which is tough.
Which is going to be tough.
Well, it depends on what they're going to ask them to do. And that's something with Oxford. They don't really ask the quarterback to chuck it around the field, right?
That's the problem I have with Oxford.
Well, but that's the thing that draws me in, because you're like, okay, does this work in this day and age? When you have all these different types of sophisticated offenses and defense changing, and they stick to a certain style.
They stick their certain point of view, but
correct.
You're a parent, right?
Absolutely. I got 2 kids rolling around. Yeah.
There comes a time where people get frustrated.
Yes, I can understand
with it. And I've been hearing rumblings, I've been hearing rumors going around, that a little unrest going around, that they need a change, a change in program changing structure. And when I look at Oxford, I don't know if that program is right now ready for change because they believe in one system.
Well, not while Coach is there. Raleigh's there. I mean, as long as he's there, they're going to be a certain way, right? I don't see. I mean, I've seen enough interviews you've done with him to know that it seems like this guy, he has a system and that's it. You might offer a little flair here or two because we did see one a couple of years ago. He started throwing it around to that big tight end he had, and it.
But always
it bit some people,
the rock with them.
But it completely, yeah. And if you don't have that offensive line or that big beefy running back to carry you, what do you have?
Well, remember back in 11. Remember they had Prescott line.
Yeah, well they had the line, brother.
They had the line. They had the line. I mean, the line was very good as well. I mean,
correct.
And then a couple of years ago, they had the quarterback in Glacier Wellington, who was really, really good.
Yes,
for them.
He was. He was single-handedly won a couple games.
Yeah, I mean,
but for me, I like watching them to see how it's more of a. It's not like an X's and O's thing, but it's more of a stylistic. How does it compare?
It's interesting
to see.
It's toughen up.
Yeah.
So that's the team you're watching, Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford and Adams.
Considering they got a very difficult schedule.
I can still watch them.
Yeah.
It does. Like I said, I'm not wearing the jersey.
No.
Hey, I still root for my alma mater, the Dexter Dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
And they haven't won a thing in 40 years.
No, they have not won.
But it's one of those things where you keep an eye on. Those are the ones you follow, you pay attention to. That's for me.
But it's very interesting to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
It is. So those are your teams we're keeping an eye on this year. No, we're keeping on others as well.
Yeah.
Of course, my personal Mike Valenti team I'm keeping an eye on is Farmington. Because sometimes they find a way to break your heart. They always find a way to just break your heart. When you think they're going to be high, they just come out and break your heart. That's the team I'm keeping an eye on. That's another one I'm keeping an eye on. It's Farmington. Because
do you enjoy pain? Is that the as they say, glutton for punishment? You like the pain?
Let's remember the rant back in 06 when Mike Valenti blasted Michigan State.
Yes, I listened to it live as it happened.
That's how I feel about Farmington football. Because this is a team that has so many high expectations each year. Now, last year they had injuries that bothered them. They outscored their opponents last year.
Even with injuries.
Yeah, they outscored their opponents last year. And yet this is a team that finished 3-6.
Well, how do you outscore your opponents if you only win 3 games? Was it Laurel Valley close?
They lost a lot of close games.
Okay.
They lost a lot of close games.
And what do we know about close games? I mean, teams that lose a lot of close games, we've seen it on the college level. Sometimes does it click? The next year, those games turn into close wins.
Farmington's got the strength of Farmington seems going to be their defense.
Okay.
But the problem they got is offensively. I mean, they got some running backs. Quarterback's a question mark. Do I trust Stevie Guerrero at quarterback? That's a question.
Okay. Is he returning quarterback?
Yes, he is. He did. Yes, he did. Yes, he is. So that's interesting to see what happens. I'll be curious to see when I talk to Corey Soroch about this team. And they changed uniforms. They got rid of the Penn State look. There's no more Penn State look for them now.
Did you like the Penn State look or no?
I actually did like the Penn State look, but now they brought in gray to their uniforms, and I thought to myself, are you out of your mind? You just got rid of your Penn State looks, and now you're going to more of you put gray in the uniforms? It always very odd decision.
You always make me laugh when you talk about uniforms because you're so passionate about the look.
Oh yeah,
of a lot of these teams. I mean, it when you have a good uniform and a cool helmet, man, there's nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to play the game. You still got to hike that ball.
You got to hike that ball. Be curious to see what happens. I still cannot believe media day. I still can't believe the first day of football is near.
Yeah, it's
next Monday.
Well, and the one thing too is once football gets rolling, the machine just churns.
Machine starts churning.
It's the season's underway.
You get your previews. You get to start working on everything.
Oh, everything. And for those of you listening, or watching the OA Now currently. We're going to be on the road. ONTV will be on the road at Adams this year. We still have to get 100% confirmation we can go there, but the plan is to roll the cameras to Adams.
And it's not a far trip.
It's not a far trip, but we still have to get permission and make sure that the facility can accommodate our cameras and announcers and the truck and all that. But the goal is to have go on the road to somewhere besides Oxford. We always have a great relationship with Oxford.
Yeah.
And we work together with their community, TV center up there. And the AD's been great over the years. They know we're coming and all that good stuff. So we're hoping to extend it to other places. And then eventually, maybe we'd love to take it on the road to Clarkston one year. We'd love to take it on the road to West Bloomfield one year. But so we're trying to reach out to Adams. But that's the goal, is to get Adams and Lake Orion's game on the air.
Adams fans were hearing this, so
that's good. I mean, hey, call your AD, say, yeah, let's get the game, because we like to try to spread. Since the games are streamed live now through NFHS Network, we like to give a variety. There's other road games that Lake Orion's covering, at the high school level. But anyway, so just a quick plug.
Quick advertising commercial.
Yeah, for ONTV.
Yes. We come back, we're going to talk about basketball regionals that were just released. I want to get your thoughts on them here on Oaa Now.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Music, weather, sports, and you.
Me?
Yes, you. You're listening to the local voice.
Welcome back. I'm Sammy Terramina here with Ian Locke here.
We're back, yeah. After the break.
Yes. I want to talk basketball a little bit. They just released, the MHSAA just went out and released the girls basketball regionals.
All right.
I want to get your thoughts on them. As mentioned, we talked about the districts a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we got your thoughts there. But these are the regionals now that the MHSAA just released.
Okay. Any slipping and sliding? Anything change?
Some really interesting interesting districts, interesting regionals we need to talk about. Let's go to Division 2 first. Of course, these is the regionals 15 and 16. Of course, this is where Pontiac and Harrison are going to be at. And their regional 16 will be at Imlay. The boys basketball side will be at Imlay City. The girls will be at Birmingham Detroit Country Day.
Imlay City, really?
Yes. I mean, that's District 62 is really, really interesting, because when you look at the teams in that one, because you have District 62 taking on District 64, District 61 taking on District 63. That's the regional semifinal match.
Okay.
And then those two will meet in the regional final. But interesting, some of these teams are very interesting in this district, in the districts, District 62, of course, has Goodrich, Imlay City, North Branch, Ortonville, Brandon, Otisville, Lake
Did
Memorial.
You say West Branch?
North Branch.
North Branch.
Yep.
I don't know if I know North Branch.
And it's up in Lapeer County.
Okay.
And then you have
take your word for it.
Then you have Flint Powers Catholic's girls basketball program. That's District 62. District 64, you have Algonac, Macomb, Lutheran North, New Haven. Very good boys basketball team, former defending state champ.
Yeah.
You have Marine City and St. Clair.
Okay.
And then District 63, of course, you have Alma, Armada. You have Marysville, Yale, and goodness, I forgot the other names. But Alma, Croswell, Lexington.
Okay.
That's the other team I forgot. And then District 61 is mentioning Pontiac, Ferndale, Birmingham, Detroit Country Day, Blue Veils, Cranbrook, Kingswood, Warren, St. Catharines, Siena, Wixom, St. Catharines, Siena Academy, Clawson, Pontiac, Notre Dame Prep.
Okay.
So I want to get your thoughts on Region 16. What are your thoughts?
There's some potentially tough games in there.
You look at Birmingham let's talk about the girls' side first.
Yeah,
Birmingham
yeah.
Detroit Country Day has to be
It's
favorites.
always tough.
Mm-hmm.
Always tough. If you're not ready to play them, you're toast. I mean, you always have to. Every time I see their name on a list, I'm like, okay. Historically, you kind of say
I just see Birmingham Detroit Country Day just rolling through
it. Yeah, yeah.
I just see it happening here. And then the boys' side, which could be a little bit tougher. You know what I mean? When you look at New Haven, Birmingham Detroit Country Day, possible clash there. But, you got others there that could do some damage. But right now, when I look at this regional in the boys' side of things, it looks like it could be a clash between New Haven and Birmingham Detroit Country Day, for the regional championship. So that'll be very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's my thoughts on Region 16.
Okay.
Region 15.
Any changes? Any comparisons from last year to now? If there was anything changes, it's just kind of like, hey,
well, remember there were a couple.
We're just publishing.
They're just published. There are a couple teams that went down from D1 to D2.
Okay.
So, let's go to Region 15. Both boys and girls will be played at Livonia Clarenceville. So, work with me here if because this is going to be really, really tough to say the least. I don't know if our if you would know, I don't know if but here's the teams. Here's District 58 for you.
Okay.
They're all Detroit teams. Detroit Collegiate Prep at Northwestern. Detroit Frontier. Detroit Henry Ford Creative Academy in Science.
What?
You got Detroit Vulgar / Detroit Consortium. Detroit International Academy for Girls. Then you have Detroit West Side and Detroit University Prep. That's District 58.
Yeah. That's one of those word salads with teams and schools that I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the realignment or the way they've redone the schools down there, but it's a lot of academies.
You're gonna believe this. Here's District 57.
My goodness.
Here's Detroit 50. Here, the District 58 is gonna take on District 60. As mentioned, you got Ferndale, Hazel Park, Ferndale University, Center Line, Warren Lincoln, Madison Heights, Lamphere. So that winner's gonna take on District 58. District 57, District 59. District 57 has Detroit Communication Media Arts.
Okay.
Detroit Cornerstone. Detroit. Goodness, hard to say here. Detroit Old Redford.
Okay.
Southfield Bradford Academy, and Livonia Clarenceville. And District 59, you have Detroit Denby Tech, Detroit Frederick Douglass. You have Detroit Osborne, Harper Woods Christian Park, Chandler Park Academy.
Okay.
Harper Woods and St. Clair Shores South Lake.
That's another one. That's
girls' side of things. I think it's going to be. I still think the team to beat is going to be. It's a toss up there. Really is in the girls' side. Boys, if Juan Rickman's team, I could see a clash between Juan Rickman and Brendan Barrett's Detroit University Prep team.
okay.
And if Ferndale doesn't win this regional, they should be disappointed. They should be. Because I think this is a good opportunity for Ferndale to take advantage.
Yeah.
This is. Really is.
Yeah, the mixture of some teams in there. I mean, there's a lot, the Detroit area down there with the PSL and, the surrounding areas, it's in flux, it seems, every year.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new academy that launches or there's something else going on and there's always changes. And, I mean, you don't know the personnel, who are the coaches, so it's difficult to say, to have any opinion on some of these teams or the matchups or potential matchups.
It's hard to figure out.
But it's almost like a game time decision where you see who won? Oh, okay. And then you have to go back and do your research and say, okay, I might be able to pick one or at least give some information.
It's going to be a nightmare to look at in March. It's going to be a real nightmare.
I mean, heck, the names of these teams are...
It'll get a little easier when we get to Division 1.
Like 4 inches long.
It'll get a little bit easier when we go into Division 1.
Yeah, true.
Let's speak of that. Let's go to Division 1.
So those were Division
That was
what?
Division 2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to Division 1 now. Let's go Region 9. This is boys will be played at New Baltimore, Anchor Bay. The girls will be at Macomb, Dakota.
Okay.
Teams in this regional. District 30, we had Troy, Athens, Chippewa Valley, Sterling Heights, Stevenson, Sterling Heights, Utica, Ford. District 32, Macomb, Dakota, New Baltimore, Anchor Bay, Port Huron Northern, Macomb, Lutheran North. Oh, Lance Cruz North. Now, when I look at that matchup, girls' side, I think it's Macomb, Dakota's to lose. They have a very good player in Cameron Grant back. And then of course, I think Troy Athens has a shot.
Okay.
But they ain't getting past Macomb, Dakota if they get that far. They ain't getting past them.
Yeah.
They're
always a tough out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're in and you're out. It's always difficult.
And then you have District 29, and then the boys' side of things, I could see, it'd be very interesting to see, but I think Chippewa Valley right now on paper, Chippewa Valley, Macomb, Dakota, Troy Athens, maybe the wild card spot there in that side of the draw.
Okay.
And then you have District 29 taking on District 31, which is contested of, District 31 has Fraser, Lance Cruz, Roseville, St. Clair Shores Lakeshore, and St. Clair Shores Lakeview.
Okay.
And District 29 has Rochester, Stony Creek, Utica, Eisenhower, Troy, and Utica. So when I look at this one, girls' side of things, Stony Creek, Utica, Eisenhower, Troy, probably the wild cards there.
Yeah.
The other side, I don't see much. I'm not high on Fraser, not high on Lance Cruz or any of the St. Clair Shores schools. So whoever wins that could have an easy path to get into the regional final, in my opinion. The boys' side of things, I think it's Troy's district to lose. Taking on Roseville. I can see Roseville's a very good team there. But I can see Troy, Roseville, that winner possibly taking on either Macomb, Dakota, or Chippewa Valley. Maybe even Troy, Athens. So, to me, not necessarily a strong district in the boys' side of things, but girls' side could be strong. Macomb, Dakota, very good team there.
Okay.
Let's go to Region 7. Both will be at Southfield Arts and Tech. This is going to be a vicious regional on both sides.
Can't wait to hear it.
District 26, you have Detroit East English Village Prep, Grosse Pointe North, Grosse Pointe South, East Point, Hamtramck. They're going to be taking on District 28, which will feature Groves, Berkeley, Seaholm, Birmingham Brother Rice, Birmingham Marion, Royal Oak. So when I look at this one on the girls' side, Birmingham Marion, Royal Oak, great chance. But Grosse Pointe North last year came out of nowhere and stunned people. They went to the state quarter. They were at the Breslin Center last year.
Yeah. This
team came out of nowhere, and they got a good team coming back this year. So, so Grosse Pointe North, imagine a Grosse Pointe North taking on your Birmingham Marion or Royal Oak. Goodness. Now,
and who's the next Grosse Pointe North? You never know.
You never know.
Just out of nowhere, like we saw some teams, they're the clear favorite, and they lay an egg.
Yeah, and then
we heard a couple of your rants about those teams.
Yes. Oh,
and I'm sure we'll hear more.
Maybe. And then let's go to District, the other side of it. District 27 is all the Warren schools. Warren Cousino, Warren Mott, Warren DeSalle, Warren Regina, Warren Woods Tower, Warren Fitzgerald.
Wow.
A lot of Warren.
Wow.
And then the District 25, it's probably the toughest. You have Southfield Arts and Tech, Oak Park, Detroit Renaissance, Detroit Mumford, UD Jesuit, and Redford Union. Goodness gracious.
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Sometimes you wonder, are they stacking them on purpose? Because we saw, what was it? We were talking about the different districts in football and things. You go, is it more regional or geographic?
But when I look at
and
this,
then you look at it and go,
when I look at this on paper, I'm saying to myself, poor Warren Cousino. They're screwed because you're going to deal with Southfield Arts and Tech. You're going to deal with Detroit Renaissance.
Yeah.
You're dealing with those teams. And then you're possibly, and then of course, then when you get there, you got to deal with Grosse Pointe North or Birmingham Marion or Royal Oak. That's not easy.
I know what do they call it? The meat grinder?
Oh my God. That's terrible. And then you look at, and then of course on the boys' side of things, East English.
Yeah.
They're going to be a whole new team now Juan Rickman's gone.
Yes.
But when I look at,
would you call them a surprise last year, or just say they expected? Yeah.
No. I mean, but that's a weak side of the regional now because I think it's Birmingham Brother Rice's to lose when you look at it. On the other side, you have Detroit Renaissance, Oak Park, UD Jesuit in there. You know?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Birmingham Brother Rice, UD Jesuit, Birmingham Brother Rice, Detroit Renaissance, or Birmingham Brother Rice, Oak Park.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
And something about basketball, too, going through the schedules, as we do. I noticed, are games for the guys starting earlier?
Yes.
Because I heard something about Breslin Center booking.
Yeah, because women's basketball, NCAA tournament. Yes.
Yeah. So it seems like the guys' season is a week earlier.
Mm-hmm. A week earlier.
So get your basketball on about a week earlier this season.
We got 2 more regionals to cover here. Region 5, boys are going to be at Ypsilanti Lincoln. Girls are at Ann Arbor Skyline.
Ypsi Lincoln.
Yes. And Dexter is in one of these districts.
Hey, go Dreads, go.
Yep. Let's go. District 18 takes on District 20. You have Farmington, North Farmington's boys basketball teams in there. Farmington Hills Mercy, Novi Detroit Catholic Central, Novi Livonia Stevenson.
Oof.
Taking on District 20, which has Wayne Memorial, Plymouth, Plymouth Canton, Plymouth Salem, Westland John Glenn, or Romulus.
Boy, they got the
That's
bullseye right there. And
that's tough.
Yeah.
That is vicious, especially in the boys' side of things.
Yeah.
That is vicious. Farmington's going to be good. I think North Farmington's going to be good. Novi Detroit Catholic Central, I saw them.
Always good.
They're good. Livonia Stevenson, I saw them. Wayne Memorial's always tough. Romulus is Romulus.
Yeah.
And then you have District 17. You have Ann Arbor Skyline.
Yeah.
Your team from Dexter.
Hey.
Yep. You have Brighton, Pinckney.
Yeah, Pinckney.
South Lion,
Pinckney
South
Pirates.
Lion East. Yep, South Lion East. And then District 19 of Ann Arbor Huron, Ann Arbor Pioneer, Ypsilanti Lincoln, Saline, and Belleville.
See,
Belleville went to the quarterfinal last year. Belleville's a team to keep an eye on.
Well, Saline teams, too, are always difficult. I mean, their athletic program over there is just off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
So are like the Ann Arbor clubs. You just never know. Skyline's been a solid athletic program for a number of years.
Right. Belleville's going to be a team to beat. Ypsilanti Lincoln just got the best player in the state.
Yeah.
He's going to be a freshman this year. So we'll see what happens there.
And then might have to get some results down there.
We will. We definitely will. And then, of course, Region 2, of course, the boys are at Howell, girls are at White Lake, Lakeland. Of course, District 6, you have Lake Orion, Adams, Clarkston, Oxford, Romeo, Waterford, Kettering.
That's Howell? At Howell?
No. It's boys are at Howell, but these are the district's teams that are there.
Okay.
District 6, as mentioned, Lake Orion, Rochester, Adams, Clarkston, Oxford, Romeo, Waterford, Kettering.
Same.
Yep, taking on District 8, which has Wall Lake Western, Milford, Wall Lake Western, Wall Lake Central, Wall Lake Northern.
Okay.
District 7, of course, has Avondale, West Bloomfield, North Farmington's girls, Waterford, Mott, Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, and Bluefield Hills. And they're going to be taking on District 5, which consists of Heartland, Howell, Howey, Linden, and Fenton. So, girls, this is going to be tough because
there's some decent teams on both sides.
Wall Lake Western, girls' side, Wall Lake Western, Steve Emmer's team there.
Always tough.
Wall Lake Central had a nice year.
Yeah.
Considering that, I think the district and girls are going to be much tougher. Really, really tough. And then the other side, imagine Bloomfield Hills. North Farmington's girls or West Bloomfield, going up against Heartland and their 2 stars, the Solom sisters, or Howell, who's another very good team.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you're a Holly Bronchos fan. I think Rebecca Fugate's season's ending in districts. I'm sorry.
Really?
It is. Because they're not getting past Heartland. They're not getting past Howell. I'm sorry. And then the boys' side of it, could you just imagine a Lake Orion Walled Lake Central regional semifinal? That could get nasty. And then, or, maybe Adams, Lake Orion, Rochester, Adams, Clarkston.
Yeah.
They've got their strong, and then, of course, the Wall Lake District, you have Lakeland, who had a nice year last year.
Yeah.
Milford. It's going to be very interesting over at Howell. It'll be very interesting. And then, of course, on the other side, Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, Avondale, West Bloomfield, maybe Waterford, Mott, going up against Heartland, maybe even a Howell. Possible. tough district, tough regional, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Very tough regional, to say the least.
And you listen to the names, you go, like them, like them, like, you just keep hearing, you go, just tough.
It's
tough
brutal.
teams. It's
brutal. But it's going more, East going more west this year.
Yeah.
It's west. It's west to east this year. It's not north to south.
And the one thing I that kind of pops into my head, you are obviously educating me on the ways of basketball and all this good stuff around the OAA. And the one thing I see, I go, ooh, that'd be a good game. Ooh, that'd be a good game. Everything seems like it's a decent game. It's like, I could pass.
Yeah.
Every one of those, you're like, oh, I'm interested in tuning in or interested in seeking out the scores of those.
Mm-hmm.
They're just the D2 ones with the
Detroit schools.
word salad names of these schools. Yeah, not really. But
it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
It'd be very interesting to see what happens. Okay, now we should take a break here, and we'll talk about your thoughts of cross country and volleyball here on Oaa Now.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Welcome back to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Timmon here with Ian Locke.
Hey.
Yep. We got. Let's quickly.
Final segment.
Segment already. Yep. Let's talk about a little bit of volleyball. A little bit cross country. Country. Who do you think's favored?
Well, I can comment on up in our area. The red. I still see it's Clarkston on the girls' side. I still see it's Clarkston's to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They're loaded with seniors.
Troy.
Troy's tough too. The matchup between those two teams is very good. Those are the ones to watch for me on the girls' side.
And boys' side?
On guys, I don't know. We had a lot of talent graduate. So from Rochester to Seaholm to whatever. That is completely open to me.
We'll see what happens there.
We'll do some more research and see what happens.
Soccer, I still think it's going to be Troy Athens.
Okay.
I think Troy will be big time names there in boys soccer.
Okay.
Volleyball. Anybody throwing in Clarkson?
I don't think so.
Not even Lake Orion. As we mentioned a couple weeks ago.
Well, we talked about Lake Orion and go, are they on the way up or on the way down, or have they plateaued? I don't know.
Question. So, a lot of storylines to talk about.
There is.
A lot of storylines to talk about.
Yeah.
Now in the next few weeks, we're going to talk about it. We're going to be airing the previews for all the football on air on ON TV and also on the SoundCloud.
Correct. And just so everybody knows, obviously Media Day is this week.
Mm-hmm.
The first week of August.
Yep.
And Sammy breaks down his preview into 3 sections, right?
Yep.
To the
3 divisions.
to the 3 divisions. And we release those weekly until the opening kickoff week of football.
Yep. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. So follow any updated stories and previews on the blog at sammy@blogspot.com.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens going forward. Okay, now everybody, I'm signing off here. This is Sammy Timmon here, and good luck to everybody starting up in football and cross country next week, and volleyball and others in the middle of the week next week. So take care, everybody, and see you all soon.
Thanks, Sam. This show is produced by Sammy Taramina. The views on this show are his and his alone. If you'd like to make your own podcast, give ONTV a call at 248-393-1060. Classes are enrolling. I think it's only $25. Give us a call. That's it for us here at OAA Now. We'll see you next week. See ya.